Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Daybreak on Trust Television. And moving on, we move on to our next conversation. PONZI schemes are schemes that promise enormous returns on investment within a short period, paying existing investors with money from new users after the collapse due to growing numbers. The originators abscond with their investors, as we have seen in the case with Nigeria recently. It is speculated that over 300 billion naira has been lost to PONZI schemes in Nigeria in the last 6 years. Despite the Security and Exchange Commission, the Central Bank of Nigeria, and other agencies of government warning of different suspicious investment platforms, rising inflation, perceived poor performance of the capital market, as well as low returns on government securities, have exposed Nigerians to superlative and dubious schemes with victims suffering heavy losses. On Daybreak this morning, we will be discussing with Emmanuel Okwara, a business analyst and forex expert on pyramid scheme, its effects and what differentiates it from other investment this morning. Mr. Emmanuel, it's a pleasure to have you in the studio this morning.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we have, you know, we are now in that era where everywhere you look through in Nigeria, you see all kinds of PONZI schemes, and you know, promising all kinds of reward, and you know, getting Nigerians excited indeed, as we say in our opening statements, about what it promises to offer, and so Nigeria have become wary about this PONZI scheme. But before we get the response of Emmanuel, we would take a very short breather, and when we return, we will get the perspective of Emmanuel on what differentiates, you know, PONZI schemes from what he has, investment platform as we have them in this country. Please stay with us.
This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back. As I said earlier in the introductory phase, we are now joined by Emmanuel Okwara, who is the country manager for Equity Group, here to discuss PONZI scheme and other investment model. Mr. Emmanuel, you know, for me, every time you come around me and you begin to say, bring two people to bring two people to bring two people, you know, you just cut me off that conversation that never really gives you the freedom to do anything except you bring two people who bring two people. And that is when you know that two people can be very difficult in Nigeria. But tell us, what exactly differentiates this other investment model from PONZI schemes?
Okay, number one, of course, you know, PONZI scheme is actually a financial arrangement whereby investors contribute funds to maybe like a portfolio manager that promise them unrealistic returns. And now also takes money from other investors to auto pay people, just like robbing Peter to pay Paul. It keeps piling up till no more money to be paid, so the person vanishes. You know, the problem we are having is that they're actually taking advantage of people's greed, you know, the rise of unemployment, and people's lack of financial education. They're taking advantage of this. And Honestly, I can say to you, when you mentioned 300 billion, it's actually more than 300 billion. In fact, a particular popular Ponzi scheme in Nigeria carried away with 800 billion.
Wow.
You can imagine the money that left the country.
Wow.
That is so bad. And what I tell people is this: it's very easy to understand, to see a Ponzi scheme. I ask people, when they promise you an unrealistic returns, do you ask yourself, why is it that regulated and registered financial organizations don't promise such? If it's possible, they should be giving that. How can somebody say, I'm going to give you 30% on a monthly basis? If it's possible, banks should have been giving you that. How can bank in 6 months you get like 6%, 7%? I mean, these are a lot of risk management in place, but somebody is telling you, I'm going to give you 30%, and the strategy is that, it accumulates. They pay the first month, pay the second month. They actually don't invest in they don't invest the money anywhere. They just want it to pile up. So once you are bringing in money, because one thing in the Nigerian person's mentality or mindset is, this business is paying.
Yeah.
He tells his family people, tells his friend, and nobody wants to make research. People keep throwing in money.
Yes, Emeka has done it and he's cashed out.
Did they pay Emeka? Yes. Obina has cashed out. Let me also go, they will pay me. And do you know the fact? Nowadays, people even know it's Ponzi. But they want to take the risk.
Yes, I was coming to that. So it's not just a function of the education not being there.
Yes.
Or the awareness not being there.
Yes.
It's about the greed.
It's
about, we know it is going to fail. We are not sure when it's going to fail.
So let's take advantage.
Let's take advantage now. We may just come out on hot, and when it fails on other people, it fails.
Yes.
How terrible can this mentality be?
It's so bad because of the society, what we see everywhere, has made us believe that we can get rich quick. People want to get rich without passing through the process. People are no more patient. The rate of unemployment, a lot of people are desperate. People look at what's happening on the media. They want to be like someone without sitting down to check the process this person has passed. They want to be like Burna Boy. They want to be like Dangote in 1 year without reading the success history. And that is too bad. And that is killing us. Before you know it, greed takes over, and you want to do everything to become rich. And it's really killing us, honestly. At the end of the day, you see someone getting more frustrated because money is gone. Some people even take loans from the bank to put in Ponzi.
I know treasurers of churches and worship places, treasurers of August meetings and the rest of the
village meetings
who have moved this cash that has been put in your hand in trust into this kind of schemes.
Yes.
I remember a youth corps member who was serving in Lagos and whose sister was getting married around the Ember month. And they said to him, since you'll be coming in for that holidays, we understand that textiles are cheap. Take this XYZ contribution for the Ashwebi of the family. And he felt it was an opportunity and moved it into Ponzi scheme. And 2 weeks down the line, the boy was weeping like somebody who had lost, who has indeed lost a fortune. But, taking this conversation forward, the Nigerian situation is worsened by two things. One, a docile regulatory agency.
Yes.
These guys are not operating in the moon. We see offices that are labeled. In fact, tax agencies go there to take signage fees.
Yes.
From companies that are not exactly registered.
Yes.
They see them and just simply say, don't patronize them. Shouldn't the regulatory agency be doing more than just merely asking people not to patronize? That's on the one hand. The second aspect of the problem I see is even endorsement by people that we look up to. So you see celebrities coming up to say, I've seen quite a number of them.
Yes.
This is the place to be. They even show you samples of text credit alerts that they receive. And people will say, well, if Patience Ozonkwo is in this,
I should be in too.
Then it should be real.
It's real, yeah.
Because the idea is these are opinion leaders. They will not endorse something they think is not right. That's how vulnerable the mass populace is. How do we tackle this twin problem?
Number one, what we need is financial literacy, a lot of financial literacy campaigns for people to understand that there are processes to this. And people should also understand that most of these celebrities used as influencers don't even have the financial knowledge. They just take advantage of the popularity they have. They don't even understand what they are
sort
going
of just mislead that whole following.
Yes. Number one, we need a financial literacy campaign. Number two, before going into or investing in any business, try to understand. There's something Dangote said one day in an interview. He said, I don't go into any business I don't understand.
I was in that sitting. I was in that meeting. I heard it firsthand.
Thank you. Now, before you put your money anywhere, you have to do your research. Number one, what's the business registrations like? Where are they registered? The good thing is that right now, everything has gone online. Even you can actually verify company registration online without even going to the office. With the registration number, you can make your verification. That is not enough because you and I know that some of them even have business registration.
That's true.
Now, what is the business model like? What assets do they have? A company that said they're worth billions in naira collecting money, what kind of assets? I mean, if I have to put my money and let's say something happens, what assets do this company have that we know that can actually be purchased or maybe put somewhere to get liquidated to get back money? What's the business model? What are the assets? Now, who are the people promoting this business? What's their pedigree? So these are some fact findings people need to make before putting money anywhere. Number one is, what is the regulation behind it? Is SEC in support of it? If you're talking about stock market, for instance, is it regulated by SEC? If you're talking about a lot of things, who handles the regulation? If there's a regulation, who make your research about it? That's number one. Number two, like I said, what assets do they have? The brains behind it can tell. There are some people that when you see them in the business, do you know that most people actually invest in business? It's not because of the business, but the brains behind it. There's a name I will see as a part of the board members. I know that, yes, I need to put my money here.
Sweat equity.
Because of the credibility and integrity. But nobody wants to see that. There's a particular business, in a PONZI business, I don't want to mention them, 6 months ago, friends from people I know were putting in money. And they were like, Emma, you need to put your money here. They are paying. I said, okay, let's look at the people behind this. No board. This company does not have board members. So I'm like, who are those behind it? The husband, the wife, the children are shareholders. The children are still in primary school. Now, where are the assets? The addresses they put. We Googled and made research, nothing. Nothing. No business model. So why should I put my money here?
So the question then would be, does the average Nigerian has the capacity for this due diligence? Or is this something they should be talking to somebody to do? Who should they be talking to?
Well, I think even if you don't have the financial capacity, there are people that have the financial capacity that can help you do that. But number one, online, like I said, has made things easier. Now, you can actually go online to make this research, but there are some that don't have that knowledge. You know, people don't even know where to go to. But at least ask questions. Just like even the Bible said, if you want to build a house, you have to sit down and count the cost. You can actually go to some people and say, okay, this is what I want to do. I don't know much about them. You know, you can ask questions before going in. You don't just put in money because someone else is putting in money there. That ideology is very, very wrong. It's very, very wrong.
So now, we have discussed more on the PONZI scheme and all. So what are those viable business models, you know, that we shouldn't be scared when we see, other than asking this due diligence question? Are there business model, investment business model, that we can trust right now in this country? And if there are, can you open our eyes to a number of them?
Yes, there are a lot of business models that we can trust. Number one, there are some business models that you can actually go into that don't promise unrealistic returns. Imagine a business that gives you, on a monthly basis, 1%, 2%. Of course, I know the reason why the returns are not much is because of the risk applied to it. We know about mutual funds, we know about bonds, we know about online trading, which is the largest financial market. People can take advantage of this. Now, because these businesses have both local and international regulations. Okay. So that can even be seen, especially like the one I actually base mostly is online trading. And this is something that people can learn as a skill. take part, learn the risk management, learn the money management, and then you can do it yourself and even make 1%, 2%, 3% on a monthly basis. And you can actually check the brain behind the formation of the organization. You can see everything is so transparent. The website is secured. You can actually see the board members, the people that instituted it, and the business that have been around for years, 13 years, 20 years, 40 years. Most of the banks, for instance, has been on ground for over 30 years. For you to, you know that sometimes the environment can even kill a business.
That's right.
But these businesses have survived different environmental factors.
Resilience.
These are some things you look at. A lot of things have happened, a lot of recessions, we've gone into recession, come out, but these businesses have still thrived. That means there is a format, and that is already a sign that I should actually invest my money in them.
But when you talk about 1%, 2%, in reality, with a country that is battling with about 15% recession, people think that from day one, what you are getting, if you net off the inflation figures, translates to a negative. That is why they sort of feel they will jump at anything that offers them some kind of glimmer of hope. Otherwise, what it will simply mean is you're just contributing your savings to these persons to use to drive their own businesses. Don't you say it that way?
But is it not better to be slow and steady than to lose your entire savings? Do you know people lose? I know of a man, his pension and gratuity, everything, over 30 million. He put everything in PONZI. Imagine having worked for 35 years. All your life savings, you put in PONZI, and in a matter of 4 months, what you worked for 35 years is gone. It only took the grace of God for him to survive it because he had high blood pressure. Now, is it not better to be somewhere that your capital is protected, returns are small, but you know that your money is safe, than to put your money where you can't sleep at night? Every day you're checking whether the site is still working. That's one thing Nigerians should understand. There's always a process. People, when it comes to finance, people should be patient. What is more important is, are the funds growing? Where I put my fund, is it safe? It's better than putting money where, for me, I prefer that. Yes, the returns might not be much, but it's better that my capital is still protected than where tomorrow, I can't even say what happens tomorrow.
Now, I know for a fact that there are quite a number of business models that could make it easy for people to invest, especially with venture capitals. But what is the problem in our own case? Is it that this information are not available? Before you came into the studio, we had a guest talking about Bitcoin. It's amazing how Nigerians have become the #1 country of young people onboarding in these schemes because of the opportunity that are available, even though there is also not as sufficient information in the public space as there is of stocks or mutual funds and the rest. What can we do to begin to migrate my generation and yours? Because that is where the disconnect seems to be. When you go through the demographics of the people who play in the capital markets, they are in their 50s and in the 60s. People who are at the departure launch. But my generation is not interested in that. What is bringing that disconnect? Why are we not, getting into these schemes and driving them beyond what it is right now?
Well, I think there's a lot of distractions online with so many things. I think that there has to be a mass mobilization, a mass awareness creation on financial literacy. People are not informed. And if you're not informed, you are deformed already. Some people I was talking to someone about opportunities in online trading, that they can do it themselves, and trainings are organized free in our office. The person said it's not true, that they pay so much where it's going. I'm like, information. The messages are not out there. I think the media also have a role to play. Media and the government. Government should, there are a lot of, I think there's a lot of events and programs that should be organized to sensitize people about opportunities in the financial markets. Let people take advantage of it. Agencies should come up with events like that. Media should also host events or programs like this to feature experts to talk about opportunities. Like the person that just left the show, opened our eyes on the opportunities in cryptos, in Bitcoin. Yet there's a ban on it. But the participation is rising on a daily basis. So that is a signal that instead of banning, you regulate. You regulate. And what we need to do is, apart from this, there has to, the problem I see, or the gap between the people that are aged and us, based on investment options, is just information. So why don't bring these two people together in a platform? Let's discuss opportunities. Let's rub minds in an opportunity where a lot of people will see and hear. It will really help.
Again, just tying up to this conversation is what we saw with the MTN share.
Yeah.
You know, the ease of entry and exit. You know, they made it so easy that right on your phone you could create your CSCS account, create an account, get an instant payment, special purpose vehicle, you know, that was done by Flutterwave, and you move funds from your account securely into these people to register for a fund. I mean, so far the process has gone seamlessly. Could it have been the reason why we have not seen our generation take up? Because the capital market is huge. It's a 30 trillion naira market.
Yeah.
Is it the reason why we have not been able to move people into that band? Because, I mean, you and I know what our generation prefers. Nobody has the time to start trailing one stockbroker, to start going after one, you know, to start going through all that paperwork just to indicate interest that you want to buy into a shares or an equity or a bond and all of that. Could it be that the technology driving this process seems to be slower, and that is why our people are not jumping on it?
That's the truth. Because if MTN didn't do what they did, people will not take advantage of the opportunity. If MTN has said, we are selling our shares, come and buy, without simplifying the process, people will not take part in it. I think that all these processes about the financial market should be simplified in a way that people don't need to pass through long process in order to get involved in it. That is just the answer. Now, when you talk about the stock market, talk about the forex market, and you say it's $6.6 trillion in the forex market, traded volume on a daily basis, $30 billion in the stock market. Someone is like, the price is already scaring the person away. You understand? But when you simplify it and let them understand that even with $10, 2,500 naira, you can still trade in this global financial market. It now makes sense. Now, how can you do it? There's a broker you can register online. 1 minute, you've already done your verification registration. They have affiliation with Nigerian bank. You fund your account with 2,500 naira, and you are being trained on a free webinar. Connect at the comfort of your home. Listen just 30 minutes, and then you start trading. It's a practical application. When we get this out, you will see a lot of people will get involved, despite your age in it.
So, in 30 seconds, tell us, what do you have to be to trade forex online? What's the sophistication? What educational level do you need to play in this space?
Number one, you need to have an open mind. Why I say to have an open mind, you need to tell yourself that, because some people think that if I didn't study economics in school, I cannot take part in this. No, you need to have an open mind to learn how to participate in the global financial market. And again, you need a digital device because it's traded online. People need to understand that money has gone online. So you need a digital device, a palm top, an Android phone, a laptop, and you need a licensed broker, like Equity.
I'm not stopping you. Quickly, in another 30 seconds. When you trade online, what exactly do you do? Do you buy and sell currencies, or you take a position? What exactly do you do trading online?
Okay. What you do is either you buy or you sell based on the price peculiarities.
You are more of a digital bureau de change, isn't it?
Yes, the digital bureau de change. Yeah. I would have defined this in a layman understanding if you have time, just in 20 seconds.
Yes, go ahead.
Let's say the exchange rate between naira to dollar is 500 naira to $1, and you have a technical know-how of how things work. So you take 500,000 naira, go to Malam in Zone 3, you sell that naira to buy $1,000. Yes. You gave Malam 500,000 naira. Malam give you $1,000. After like a day, based on your technical know-how and speculation, exchange rate is now 550 naira to $1. You now go back to Malam to sell back that $1,000. What Malam will now give you is 550,000 naira. Trading has occurred, and you have made 50,000 naira trading. The difference is that this is traded online, and you can trade different currencies in the world. Amazing. At the comfort of your home.
Amazing. I wish we had time to to continue to trap Emmanuel in our studios and get more tractions around these issues. But I'm sure we would have several opportunities in the future, you know, to drill into different aspects of online trading. Essentially, our own contributions to making sure we provide, you know, the options for teaming Nigerian youth who want to vitalize their knowledge and find something productive to do other than waiting for those well, it's a white-collar job on its own, except that you don't have to put on the tie and show up in an office by 8 a.m. It's been a pleasure having you in the studio, Emmanuel Okora, who is an online business expert, a forex expert, and expert on pyramid schemes. You know, take us through this drill this morning. Do you have a productive day ahead?
Thank you very much.
It's we will take this short breather. When we return, the show continues.
This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
It's been an interesting journey with you right from 6 a.m. to this point on Daybreak on Trust Television, where we have brought you very interesting guests and exciting episode of the show for today's edition. We hope that you stay in touch with us on another day as we bring you more exciting show on this program. If you are just joining us and you had missed out on anything, you can catch up on our digital platform on Instagram, on YouTube, and on Facebook. See you again and have a delightful Friday and, of course, a weekend. I am Sunday Michael Ogu. Bye-bye.